We have an update for you on a story that we told you about yesterday where a racist remark was spray painted on a football team member's home, and because of that, the whole game was canceled. Well, previously, Lunenburg, Massachusetts was embroiled in a controversy after these racist remarks were, as I said, spray painted on the home of a 13-year-old player. Katina Caraganis is a reporter for the Sentinel Enterprise of Fitchburg and has been covering the story since it broke last week. She interviewed the Phillips family right after the discovery of the hate message, and she joins us via Skype. Katina, thank you so much for coming on Arise America.
Sure, no problem.
I do appreciate it. First of all, let me just ask you about this family and this young man. How are they doing?
You know, I think they're doing as well as can be considering everything that's going on in their life right now. I know that they're just trying to stay strong and kind of get the word out about what's going on and what can be done to fix it.
Can you give me a little perspective on this story? I mean, has there been an undercurrent of racism? Has there been clashes between the races in this community leading up to this incident?
Not that I knew of. There is some speculation. About 2 weeks ago, there was a game against Worcester, and they had some black kids in their team, and there were some allegations that the same term was used by Lunenburg players. That's kind of the first time I've heard of it, that there was any sort of racial tension.
And explain the rationale by the superintendent and the school to cancel the Thanksgiving Day game, which is very important in this community as a result of this incident.
I mean, I can't obviously speak for what's going on in their head right now, but the explanation I've received is from a security standpoint, it would just be impossible for them to conduct this game. You know, typically Thanksgiving Day games around here are biggest attendance-wise, and they actually play their game Thanksgiving Eve, when a lot of people typically go out to dinner, have drinks with friends, and then go to the game. And they just believe that coupled with the tension and the high emotions, it would just be impossible to control.
And tell us about the community reaction to this decision to cancel the game.
You know, it's been mixed. I think a lot of people understand that, you know, they don't want to condone what's happening, but, you know, the investigation isn't finished yet, and it hasn't been determined that it was done by a football player. So parents feel that it's being taken out on one group of kids, and it hasn't even been determined that they may have played a part in it.
You know, I think perhaps in the debate about whether or not there should be a game and who actually committed this act, sort of what gets lost is that there are, you know, this involves young kids. You know, 13 years old is really not very old. For the other players who are affected by this, as well as young Isaac, who was the target of this racism, how is he dealing with this?
You know, from what I know, Isaac's a pretty shy kid. So initially when he's been flooded with camera crews and reporters at his house, you know, he's been a little apprehensive, but I think that for him it's important to get the message out there and let people know that he's not just going to stand by and let this happen. And, you know, it's not the first time he says that it's happened. So, I'm sensing that he just wants to get the word out.
Is there any indication, and I know you say you can't speak for the school system, and I totally understand that, but in your reporting and the conversations that you have, is there any indication that this incident was done by other members of the team?
I know in my interviews with the family, they believe that a football player or players is involved, but I've not been told definitely for sure that it involves a football player.
Is there a chance that they'll reverse the decision and put the game back on?
No. Their opponent has actually already found another team to play their Thanksgiving Day game with.
It really is an unfortunate situation. Katina Caraganis, did I say that correctly, I hope?
Yep.
Katina, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
No problem.
Take care. Well, exciting new research on dogs with cancer leading the way to find novel, safe, and effective cancer therapies in human beings, according to veterinary medical scientists at the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine. One of those scientists is Dr. Nicola Mason. She is the assistant professor of pathobiology and clinical studies at Penn's School of Veterinary Medicine, and she joins us via Skype from the school. Dr. Mason, thank you so much for being with us. I do appreciate it.
Thank you for the invitation.
And congratulations on the exposure that you're getting for this. I know as a veterinarian, we don't always like a whole lot of attention, but this is very exciting. First of all, let's just take a step back and talk about the clinical trial that you were conducting on dogs with osteosarcoma or bone cancer.
Yes, well, this is a trial that we started in June 2012. It's a trial, as you say, for dogs that have spontaneously developed bone cancer. So these are dogs that are owned, so privately owned patients that come in. Bone cancer is a very aggressive tumor. It's treated, as it is in humans, with amputation and follow-up chemotherapy. But despite that treatment, most of the dogs will relapse with metastatic disease and die from their disease within about 10 to 12 months. So the clinical trial that we are performing currently is looking at a new vaccine platform. This is actually an immunotherapy aimed at directing an immune response against the malignant cells that are present in the bodies of these dogs. And the idea is to utilize this bacterial-based vaccine that comes from a company called Advaxis out in Princeton, New Jersey, that actually aims to generate a potent immune response against these tumor cells. So the idea is the dogs will come in, they will have their standard of care, treatment, amputation, and chemotherapy, and then we administer 3 doses of this vaccine 3 weeks apart to these patients, and then continue to follow them every 2 months to determine how safe the vaccine is, and of course, if it has a therapeutic benefit.
This is a phase 1 clinical trial. Tell me how many dogs you have participating in this trial and what your success has been so far.
So currently we've completed vaccination of 9 dogs. They have completed their 3 vaccines. And so far, out of those 9, we have currently lost one of those dogs to osteosarcoma. She developed pulmonary metastatic disease. The other 8 dogs have done very well. Our first dog, Sasha, a little 13-year-old American bulldog, is now out past 600 days. So if you think about the median survival, as I just said, being about 300 days, something like that, this has really doubled the survival. And a number of our other dogs are out past 500 days. And obviously those we've vaccinated more recently are obviously out sort of somewhere in the region of 250 to 350 days. We have also vaccinated 3 more dogs who actually came to us with metastatic disease already, and they completed 1 vaccination, but unfortunately the cancer at that point was very advanced and those dogs did not do well. But of the dogs that present to us without clear evidence of metastatic disease at the time we vaccinate them, as I said, 8 out of those 9 dogs are alive and doing well.
And that is so exciting in veterinary medicine. I mean, bone cancer for dogs, especially large breed dogs that tend to be predisposed to it, is so exciting because it can be, the cancer itself can be so aggressive. In the time that we have left, and it's not very much time, talk about how this can now be, or can eventually be, applicable in the treatment of human cancer.
Absolutely. So the vaccine targets a particular molecule within the cancer called HER2/neu. This molecule is also present on a number of breast cancers. So the concept is when we show safety and to some extent therapeutic efficacy of a HER2 targeting listeria-based platform in dogs, because they are so similar to humans and because this cancer expresses HER2/neu, we think that this vaccine could be very effective in women with HER2-positive breast cancer. And the company Advaxis are hoping to take this now into a phase 1 study with women with HER2-positive breast cancer that have failed trastuzumab therapy in the next year and a half. So it's really very, very exciting, a platform that seems to be benefiting my patients, dogs with osteosarcoma, that actually is providing important information to drive this forward into the human clinics.
Yeah, that is so, as the young people would say, wicked cool. When do you expect to go into phase 2 of the clinical trial?
I think probably in the dogs, we're going to be expanding to phase 2 within the next 4 to 6 months.
Fantastic. Congratulations to you on this success, and we wish you all the best. Keep us posted.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Dr. Nicola Mason. And this is Arise America.